Hello, we're going to talk about understanding spirituality and the reasons why many people deny it. And it goes back into history. Manyhorses always used to say everything's psychology. Psychology is understanding human behaviors and how the physical and the spiritual world affects who we are and our decisions. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the spiritual aspects of why it's denied in so many people. It goes back in history. It goes back in the organized teachings of religious-based teachings. The original teachings of religion was to help the people. It was based on spirituality, and over time it changed. And in those teachings, they put a lot of fear into people based on what they knew about good spirits and dark spirits. And Manyhorses and I, we used to have like hours of conversation of this, and we talked about spirituality. It's like, it's a way of life. He's like, it is, it's more than that. It's psychology, he said, because people don't realize that the spiritual world affects who we are, how we think, the decisions that we make, whether it's good or bad spirits that are around us. And he always taught me the importance of just knowing when it's a good spirit or a bad spirit, and sensing and feeling it. And when it's a bad spirit, it makes the heart palpitate, and it gets really heavy, like thick. The air gets really thick when it's not a good spirit around you. And when it's a good spirit, you feel the lightness, the airiness, the breeziness, and it feels really freeing. And he said, and if they talk in riddles, he said, if they don't make sense, then he says it's not a good influence. So you make sure you get rid of it, and you can easily do that by asking them, are you of divine love, divine light, divine energy? If not, leave now. Or you can ask them, are you from the light? If not, leave now. And whatever they share with you, whether it's images or talking to you, you just ask them, is that the absolute truth? And if they go like this, if they give a thumbs up, or if they even just say yes, then it is the absolute truth, which is the exact facts. There's no room for changing it, manipulating it, or anything. And when you ask spirits if they're from the light, it's a universal law that they're to answer you. And also, if what they're sharing is the absolute truth, that also is a universal law. So it's important to decipher good and bad spirits when you're working with them. The spirits, when they're good spirits, will always help you make choices that keep you safe, and they'll give you warnings to go or not go, because it's going to have a good outcome or a bad outcome. And also, they'll warn you whether to, even when we used to go on workshops, it's like, no, it's not the right timing. We'll have to reschedule it or rebook it. So those are the reasons why a lot of spiritual people work with their guides, is for safety purposes. So spirituality is understanding that there is a spiritual world. It is, some people call it ether. We call it the life force, living energy. In his Wet'suwet'en language, it was called Zil. And it's this space in between, like everything's connected, the web of life. So with those teachings, it's important to know that even though I'm sitting here, I'm going to affect everyone in the room with my energy, because we're all connected even though we don't see it. It can be sensed. If one person goes off and gets moody, then it sets the tone for the whole house. Even if your neighbor has a fight, that energy will come into your house. So it's also important to protect your house, to have sacred objects on the 4 outer walls and 4 corners if you wanted to, so that only divine love, light, and energy is allowed in your sacred space. We have salt ties up in the 4 corners of our house to keep that energy out, and we smudge them every day. So it's important to have your house and your land and your home protected, because the energetic influences and the environmental energies can really affect how we think and how our lives are, even in our home. Even in the workspace, it's important to have protected areas. I used to have sea salt lamps. If I wasn't allowed to smudge, I would have sea salt lamps. Or I would sprinkle salt in the 4 corners, because I was being respectful of other people's belief systems, and also using mine in a respectful way, so that I could be safe when I'm working. And if someone comes in, and I pray on the sea salt lamp every day, okay, suck in all the negative energy, keep the air clean, keep the energy clear, allow me to be balanced and in a good space. And anytime I needed help, I'd put my hands right on the sea salt lamp and I would ask it to take the negative energy out of my body and just breathe it out. And it would take it, and I'd ask it to bless and purify it and send it back to Mother Earth as healing energy. So spirituality, it's when there's dark spirits around, they can send silly thoughts. They can say, when you get into an argument with the person that you're with, you'll hear things in your head like, call him this, or say this, or they'll flash memories in your mind. Yeah, but you did this. Yeah, but you did that. Yeah, but this is what I had done. That is a negative influence sending these things to your brain, and is working on both people in that argument to keep arguing. So the more negative energy that's created, it's actually feeding them, like putting gas in a car, and they're just sucking up the energy and laughing and loving it because you're feeding them and you're draining your own personal energy, because dark spirits cannot exist without our energy and without our permission. So it's important that when you recognize that, to clear your temples and say, get out of here, I control my own thoughts. And you call on the angels to take them out, or you call on the thunder beings, or you call on the big guns on the other side to come take them out, because they're here to cause separation. Dark spirits are cause separation, and they're here to hurt people and to use them for their energy. And they're like parasites. So it's important to keep your home and yourself clear. And once you understand that there are good and dark spirits, that they can cause harm over time, and they can cause separation, and they can cause irrational thoughts, and they can throw your emotions off, that once you start healing yourself and admitting to the things that have happened in your past and journaling it and clearing it off as you're talking, doing your walk, we call it Walk in the Absolute Truth. It's a self-healing journey. It takes you from your mind to your heart. In less than 3 hours, you can heal your whole life. Once you start doing that, then your spiritual body no longer has holes in it for dark energies or spirits to come and mess with your mind or mess with your relationships or enter your body and cause heart palpitations or cause sickness and all these wonderful things that didn't exist in your body before. So it's important to really take care of yourself. It's important in self-healing. It's important in understanding that spirituality is reality. It's a part of our everyday life, that whether we're aware of it or not, that it's there. And to do your research. It's really important to research history to know why rules were put down with people who were gifted, why the witch hunts were done, why the Bible was changed. Because back then, when they made all of those changes, they knew about our teachings. They had to have known in order to block it. They had to have known in order to make the laws. Because they knew when people were empowered and connected to Mother Earth and connected to Creator and our higher power and all creation, once they disconnected us, they knew we were like balloons just hanging around, and they could move us like anywhere they want and use control and fear tactics. But when we're connected to Mother Earth and Creator, we're solid. We're not as influenced to take on these silly beliefs that it's going to cause us harm, or there's going to be death, because a lot of times there was extreme threats on your life of death with the witch hunts. And with the First Nations people, we weren't allowed to practice our religions or our belief systems until 1985, and women and children had no protection until 1985 when the laws changed in Canada. So prior to that, we had to hide everything, and now we don't have to hide it anymore. So we have to remind ourselves that we have that spiritual freedom to embrace who we are, find out our roots with our ancestors. Find out the legends and the stories, because each story has something to make our roots thicker. Our family stories, the healer stories. There's amazing stories that each one of our family has, and each tribe on Turtle Island has a piece of the puzzle to help each other. So sharing knowledge and sharing wisdom and sharing solutions and tools and healing things to help heal the self is super important at this time, so that we can all be self-empowered and have our connection to Mother Earth and Creator again, so we can connect to only good spirits and have the guidance to be good people, and the guidance to do things to make us safe, and the guidance to move forward in life and be that pebble in the pond. Because what I do is going to help my children. With the memory cells that are in my body, when I heal, they automatically heal. Mothers give one extra gene that's been proven scientifically. It's a gene of unconditional love, and it's a total connection to all life. So as mothers, when we heal a nation. So we need to start embracing our women as amazing people. We're the first teachers, the first leaders, the first healers. Manyhorses reminded me that over and over and over again. He's like, I'm so glad that I have a female to take over the teachings, because that's where the changes are going to be made, is when women are given their power back. And when women learn how to be women again, like old grannies. Because we've learned to be male dominated. We've learned to be very aggressive. So it's important to bring back the grandmother teachings and to heal ourselves, because we can be like that smoke in the air as grandmothers. We can go in and infiltrate and change people's minds and do all kinds of good things with the gifts that we have as women. So it's important that we heal ourselves as man and woman, so that we understand, yes, I forgive all the men in my past that have hurt me, and I've forgiven all the women in my past that have hurt me. So I have complete balance within. So I don't take favorites, I don't take sides, I see everyone as equal, there's no more judgments, and the judgments come from pain and sadness in our past. So it's really important to embrace who you are as a human being with a heart, because with spirituality we have all one commonality. We all have hearts, we all have pain, we all have sadness, and we all pray to a higher power. And those are the things that we need to recognize, is build on what we have in commonality and be open to other belief systems, because every culture, every nation in the world has a piece of the puzzle that's going to help us move forward in everything that Mother Earth is going through. So we're going to be the ones that are setting the stage to help the younger generation clean up the mess that we left for them. So it's time for us to take charge and learn who we are as a human being with a spirit.